Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to EA Sports WRC. Finally, the game is here in its early access phase up until Friday when it will release fully for everyone if you haven't pre-ordered it. But yeah, if you have pre-ordered it, it's available to play today. There seemed like a ton of hype behind this game and I'm here to give you my initial impressions. If it does live up to the hype, this is a new take on the series with EA Sports and Codemasters finally at the helm, and well, does it live up to all of that hype that it seemed to be generating. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to get into my criticisms and get these out of the way and done with. I only have 3 here. As you can see, I have EA Play, Performance and Visuals. I'm going to go one by one and just give you a brief overview of why that is a criticism, and then we're going to move on to all of the good stuff, which there is absolutely plenty of. So let's start off first with EA Play and why I think this is a little bit controversial and, you know, maybe going to bug a few players. So EA Play is their live service. They sort of, you know, offer a bunch of free games, game trials and such. A lot of people do have this, especially if you're part of Game Pass Ultimate. However, if you don't, you are going to be limited to some of the rewards that you can do. Whilst the VIP pass does seem to be free for everyone, a lot of the items are either EA Play limited, or there is a couple of weekly events that are also purely under EA Play. Next, we're going to move on to Performance. So first of all, I'm going to be straight up that this is a much better launch for a game than, well, most games that seem to be releasing recently, but there still is a few performance bugs kind of lying around in this final release. I'm sure most of them are going to be patched out pretty quickly, but I'll quickly take you through some of my performance bugs in terms of the PlayStation 5 version. Color flashes, that was one. Not quite sure what this one was about. There did seem to be a random colors kind of flashing up as a screen like you just saw there. Screen tearing is also another one, as well as a bit of texture popping that happens quite often. Again, it's just little kind of, you know, glitches and bugs that are quite frustrating in terms of, you know, the visuals and the performance of the game. Some frame rate drop here and there, but overall it's not really too much in your face like some releases recently. I'm not going to mention names, but it has been much worse than this. Again, they are there, but they're not absolutely terrible. Now let's finally move on to the visuals. This is something that people have been critical of ever since the first gameplay released of EA Sports WRC. Now this is definitely more of a nitpicking thing, but in terms of the visuals, they're not an absolute world beater to, you know, kind of far from it. Don't get me wrong, when I'm looking at this game, you can tell a lot of love has gone into the stages. Some of these stages are absolutely massive. There's a lot of, you know, vegetation. There's quite a bit of detail to them. They don't really rinse and repeat. There really is quite a, you know, diverse selection of stages that don't feel really that samey, which is a solid plus point, because this was something that I kind of had, you know, as an issue for like Dirt Rally 2.0. But in terms of the overall visuals of the car models and such like that, whilst the lighting does feel improved, it definitely doesn't feel like a massive step up or really even a full next gen game, to be totally honest. In terms of the visuals, it's nothing absolutely mind-blowing. Don't get me wrong, that's not to say it's an ugly game or that the car models are absolutely terrible, but I do agree that in terms of the visuals for a, you know, full-blown game releasing in 2023, there's nothing really too mind-blowing there. Again, it's passable, but it's not absolutely amazing, and it is a little bit surprising considering even the games like, you know, F1 23 that is also with EA and Codemasters look absolutely top-notch. Even Grid from last year, Grid Legends, looks absolutely incredible and definitely does look better than what we're seeing here. And it is kind of weird to see this one really not kind of being up to, I'd say, necessarily the par of modern day visuals for racing games. But don't get me wrong, I do feel like a lot of that, instead of going into necessarily just making the cars look flashy, went into making the stages very, very detailed, very diverse, and absolute behemoths in some cases. So I can definitely see why they may have took a step back in terms of the visuals and focused on what a lot of people criticized last time, which was the stage design by Codemasters. It's definitely much better now. So now the negatives are out of the way, let's move into the positives, because I have quite a few of these from my initial impressions. Number one, price and content, and this is a massive talking point and definitely a massive selling point in terms of this game. The price. Okay, asking price for this, if you have EA Play, is around about £40 or your equivalent. If you don't, it's around about £45 or your equivalent. That's a lot cheaper than a lot of AAA games are asking for in terms of their price point. It was the same with, I believe, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 for the standard version. It was around about like £40 to £45, and yet you're getting a ton of content, a up-to-date game, and one that is absolutely incredible in terms of what it's giving you back for what the game is asking for in terms of the price. There is a ton of content here, and in all honesty, you're definitely going to get that money's worth. If you were going to put money out on any racing game in terms of the content that on maybe even the time you're going to get back from it, I'd definitely say that EA Sports WRC is absolutely fantastic from that perspective. This is definitely the number one thing I noticed, that they've definitely not held back in terms of making this a serious, AAA racing game, but they're not charging the typical £70 plus that we see from a lot of new releases. This is a massive plus point for this game. There's a ton of content here. There is a ton of things to do. The career mode's diverse. They've got, the moments, the multiplayer. You really can't go wrong. Number 2, the car list itself. So this kind of moves on straight from the content side of things, and obviously is part of the content, but the car list itself is absolutely incredible for this game. This is one of my absolute favorite things about it. That is, it's just not only diverse, and there's some great oddball picks. There's cars that you just don't feel like you would have seen had Kiloton Games still been making the WRC franchise. Things like the Twingo, I believe there's a Sunbeam in there. Absolutely incredible selection and diverse selection of absolute historic, rally machinery, as well as all the official machinery from the up-to-date WRC season. It's just fantastic, to be honest. The car list in this game is a massive highlight. There is a ton of absolutely incredible and even random picks that you just won't find anywhere else, and it's definitely one of my favorite things about the WRC game of this year, and hopefully into the future. Codemasters have done a great job in not only bringing cars that we saw in the likes of Dirt Rally 2.0 and some of the cars that have been seen in the WRC games of previous, but also adding in a lot more diversity in terms of some of these oddball picks. Next up, the good number 3, handling. Now, in all honesty, it wasn't what I was expecting. Whilst for me, I would definitely class something like Dirt Rally 2.0 as a bit more of a simulator, whilst the, tarmac rallying was just absolutely terrible and was really not up to scratch. I feel like most of this has been kind of, brought into a completely different package for EA Sports WRC. It definitely feels like the game's gone more down the simcade route, and I'm pleased to report that whether you're playing on controller or wheel, you are going to have a fantastic time driving in this game. It's definitely more of a simcade experience this time around rather than a full-blown rally sim. Whilst sometimes Dirt 2.0 didn't necessarily feel like it was a full-blown sim, I'd honestly say that in terms of being a simulator, I preferred the original Dirt Rally. But definitely this time around, it's a bit more on the simcade side. It's a bit more accessible, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. At the end of the day, we need to remember this has the WRC name on it, and making these games more accessible than simulators is only going to be a good thing. There's going to be people out there that might not be full-blown big gamers and stuff that want to experience WRC. Next up, number 4, the sound. I'm not going to talk over this one too much, just sit back and have a listen. The sound design in this game is absolutely brilliant, and it's really what I expect of Codemasters.
Right left, don't cut, 80, slowing, caution, right over crest, into slight left, and hairpin left, don't cut, tightens, and 3 right, cut. Into slight left, bumpy, 200. Slight right, into slight left over crest, 100. Slowing, left over crest, and dip, 120. Hairpin right, 30 to 30. Turn square left, 190. Turn square left.
3, 2, 1, go. 2 left short, and slight right, 50. 5 right to the crest, 30. Late 6 right, over bridge.
Okay, number 5, stages. This is going to be my second to last point, and this is something that I definitely feel is absolutely fantastic. Again, I wasn't always the biggest fan of Codemasters stage design, but I feel like they've kind of taken it to the next level with getting the official WRC license. The stages are fantastic. There's many of them, and like I said, some of these are absolute behemoth of stages. Really, in all honesty, they weren't joking when they said they wanted some of these big stages to last half an hour plus. There's some of these stages that are around about 20 miles plus. It's just absolutely insane, and the stage design is definitely a step up from Dirt Rally 2.0, and I would even say better than the likes of WRC Generations. And my final point is going to be car builder. This is definitely a feature a lot of people were looking forward to, and I'm happy to say that it definitely lives up to my expectations. It's just absolutely incredible. Now, there's 3 classes of cars that you can car build from. It's all the official ones. You can pick everything from where you want your engine placement to the engine you want to use, how reliable you want it, the part condition, you know, all of the bodywork panels can be chosen, the exterior, the interior. You can literally build a rally car from scratch for all of the official WRC categories. It's absolutely fantastic to see. Whilst there's not absolutely a ton of options in terms of, you know, body panels and making each car look different, there is just enough to make it look definitely unique. And in terms of more of the performance parts, it definitely, you know, absolutely stands out from anything else. Again, I hope to see this built upon as WRC kind of goes through the next year or so. Hopefully we get more parts, more engines and such. But yes, the car builder, absolutely fantastic. Love this feature. I can see myself wasting absolutely tons of hours of my life just building random rally cars and different kind of specs and such within different series. But yes, hopefully we can see this expanded upon. It's absolutely incredible. Really worth the hype of this, you know, whole car builder thing that was promoted. It's definitely not been missold. This is a great addition to the WRC games, and it's definitely where hopefully the other EA Sports and Codemasters titles like F1 can learn by putting individual parts, wings, all that kind of stuff in. So yeah, hopefully we do see this kind of transfer over to, you know, EA and Codemaster racing games in the future, as well as being built upon whilst in WRC. So that's it from me. That is my initial impressions on WRC. It's definitely a step in the right direction. For me, it's already feeling much better than the Kiloton Games titles. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love them, but in all honesty, I feel like, you know, Codemasters have taken a lot of the criticisms from their previous rally titles and really kind of worked around them and, you know, worked on them issues, as well as making a solid official experience for the WRC in terms of getting an official game out. This is probably the best the series has been and the most refreshed it's been in a very long time. So yeah, absolutely loving this game so far. I'll try and make some more content on it down the line, check out the car builder and all that kind of stuff. Might even do a career mode playthrough. I'm absolutely loving EA Sports WRC so far. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.